Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to share about how to use your thoughts to change your destiny. So, this is a huge topic because this is literally talking about changing your life, obviously for the better. Um, but right now, your thoughts could be working against you to hold you back and limit your life. So, of course, you don't want that. And so, what I want you to do is look at your circumstances and this doesn't mean you're not being grateful or you're not content, but say, am I satisfied with where everything is? Or do I see room for improvement? Do I want to see myself go in a different direction? If so, then this is going to be a really important video for you because you can try all the strategies you want to start changing things, but if you're not starting with your mindset and with your thoughts, you're going to end up being very limited. You can go so much further if you start with your mind and then it all flows through. And that's something I'll explain more in this talk, but I wanted to let you know kind of what to expect and why this is important for you to be watching. So, my name is Allie Davis, and I am a business and mindset coach for Christian women entrepreneurs. I offer faith focused mindset and authentic strategy to help them create God inspired income. But today, I'm not really talking necessarily to entrepreneurs, although you may be an entrepreneur. I'm just talking about how your thoughts can affect your life in every aspect of your life. That's what this summit's about holistic health. And so, okay, I am going to first share why your thoughts matter. And then I'll help you see that you do have control of your thoughts. After that, I will teach you how to use those thoughts and really get intentional so that you can get intentional about the direction that your life is going. From there, I'll end with a challenge to help you start practicing the habit of immediate action, which actually is related a lot to your thoughts and to your beliefs. And that's something I am so honored to help people do, is to help people take courageous action. As I say, mindset and action really go together. So, okay, so that is what you can expect. So I will just dive on in. Okay, why your thoughts matter is the reason it matters is because um, ultimately what happens is your thoughts create your feelings, which create your actions, which create your destiny. And you can add in some different things like your actions create habits, which create your destiny, or different things like that. And obviously, there are times that maybe you will act in a way that isn't in accordance with your feelings. But over time, if you are constantly feeling discouraged or that doing something, productive is a waste of your time, you're going to stop doing it. And that's just one example, but it just as a general thing, like that is the way it flows, and what you do impacts where you're at. And then the other thing is that your attitude while you take actions affects how impactful that action is. So that's more about your state, like your emotional state. So if you think about it, if you go to work and you are there, you're energetic, you're upbeat, you're positive, how much more likely are you that that is a consistent habit? You're always showing up in that kind of state. You're so much more likely to get promoted, get moving up, versus if you're every day just super tired, really grumpy, you're in a bad place mentally, and you're just like, I just have to get through the day. Like that's a negative state, and where is that going to take you? And with all of these things, we want to think about it as a trajectory. And so if these consistent habits, these consistent states over time, what kind of impact does it have on your life? If you could shorten that negative state to being, you're only down for 10 minutes instead of something goes wrong and you're off for the whole day, like that's going to hugely impact where you can get in life, right? So that's That's one reason, or two reasons why your thoughts matter. Because ultimately, the thoughts go through your feelings to your actions to your results, but then also because of the state you're in, that affects where you get in life. The other thing is, and this is a little bit more convoluted, but the next one is beliefs. So your thoughts affect your beliefs, and your beliefs affect your thoughts. And what I'm talking about when I talk about beliefs is, oh my gosh, it can be almost everything. But for instance, you could have the belief that I am unworthy. And if you have that belief, then you tend to act accordingly. So then when it comes to investing in yourself, and maybe there's some retreat or conference that you think you should go to and would be good, but you don't believe you're worth it, you're then going to not do that and then not get the results you could have gotten from going there, right? So that would be an example of a belief. But I mean, beliefs are under everything, and oftentimes our beliefs are pretty subconscious. So we don't really know, like, we're not consciously always thinking about this. Like, for instance, people a lot of times with money mindset kind of stuff will have these beliefs that like money is gross and filthy and you have to be some jerk to have a lot of it. Um, and that's a belief that's often held at a subconscious level. But then you navigate life in a way that you actually resist money because of this belief. But really, it's related to your thoughts. And if you start having different thoughts about money, for instance, you can start changing your beliefs. And you can use your thoughts to challenge those beliefs and change those beliefs. And we'll get a little bit more into that later, but basically the things you think more on the surface and in the moment, they start sinking in at a more subconscious level to form beliefs. So, and there's a lot of things you can do to try to move things like from your head to your heart. Um, I don't know that we can get too much into that today, but know that the thoughts that are going on are going to affect those beliefs, and those beliefs again affect your actions, and your actions affect your results. Okay, so my second point, because I think now I've kind of talked about why these thoughts matter and helped you connect your thoughts to your actions to your results. Now I want to move on to talk about how you have control of your thoughts. So I'm somebody who, growing up, I struggled with chronic depression and anxiety and just really struggled with my mindset. I had the belief that I was the way I was and there really wasn't a whole lot of hope. Only maybe medication would help me, but it really didn't. Did like nothing. um, so I thought I was stuck. However, I started learning that I could actually choose to think differently. And it was a long process that involved counseling. And if you're in a really kind of dark place, especially, I really recommend hiring somebody who is a professional to deal with the place that you're at. There is definitely a difference between like counseling and mindset coach, just throwing it out there. Um, but anyway, you I started learning that I could control that. And something that my counselor was always challenging me to ask, well, how is that serving you? How is that thought serving you? What result is that giving you in your life? And then challenging me to say, hey, what if you thought this instead? What result would that give you? And then she'd kind of show me other people may believe this, that they are worthy, and then they act this way, you know, and just kind of challenging it. And you can do that. And so the environment that we're in and the inputs that we're hearing, like the stuff we're listening to, what we're reading, good for you for watching this video, because this would be what I'd say a positive input. That affects us. It affects us how we were nurtured when we were kids. Now, fortunately, we have more choice in our environment. We can control it more, and that will affect us. It will affect our thoughts. what we can refocus on different things. We may have a thought, but it doesn't mean we have to do it or have to listen to it. I'll be honest, sometimes I have really random thoughts. I'll go ahead and be vulnerable. I've kind of thought like, oh, maybe I should just like take that at a store. Like, I'm not a shoplifter, but there's passing thoughts that can just come through. Like, oh, wouldn't that be fun to just like steer off the road? No, you don't have to do it just because it's in your head for a moment. You can, I could go a spiritual direction saying the enemy's putting it there, but like, this isn't necessarily for Christians, but there are so many thoughts that go on in your head. You don't have to listen to them. And I'll tell you, everybody in the world seems to have what Marie Forleo would call like this default crap radio that says all kinds of negative junk. You can flip that switch and listen to a different channel. You are not the only one who has negative thoughts that fly through your head. You can reject them. It's true. You can. And there's so many stories of so many people who did just that and completely transformed their lives. It starts with your mind. So, okay. And also, even, especially since we're talking about holistic health, the food you eat can affect what's going on in your brain and the kinds of thoughts you're thinking. So sometimes you may be thinking all this stuff and thinking, oh, and feeling so tired and thinking you're worthless or whatever. And sometimes it's actually just the chemicals that are going on in your body because of what you ate. But you could choose to, eat differently. Of course, it's hard once you're already in that place. But my point is that we would be fools kind of to think that these things are fixed. They're not fixed. They're variable, and you have the personal responsibility and control over your thoughts. So we talked about why your thoughts are important. We've talked about that you can control your thoughts. You can take charge of this. Now let's talk about how you can actually get intentional with this stuff. I've alluded to some of this, but I'll just try to go through the list. You can challenge your thoughts by asking yourself questions about what result is this thought giving me? Or even trying to just identify the thought. Sometimes if we identify the thought, we can then immediately say, no, that's just not right. So we can challenge it about the results it's getting you, whether it's true or not, whether you would want a friend to be thinking that. That's always a good one. The way you talk to yourself is probably not how you talk to a friend. You can reframe things where you just look at it from a different perspective. And this is something that's wonderful about community, is that people can help give you a shift in perspective, hopefully a positive shift. You can, like I've kind of mentioned, rejecting thoughts and just saying, that's not true. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to choose to say no to that thought. You can refocus, if that negativity is coming on, like, let me focus on something positive. Let me, read some Tony Robbins stuff. Also, you can control your mind and body inputs. I mentioned before food, the food that you eat, also movement. That can be a big one. And this isn't exactly fake it till you make it. It's just like a biological response. So if you're smiling, physically, it's much harder to be sad because your body is signaling like happiness to your brain. Or you could do things like get your heart rate up a little bit, do some jumping jacks, jump around, do what you need to do. Think about what you feel in your body when you are in a better state. So this is particularly relevant for if you're trying to change your state, and then when you change your state, you change, like, your thoughts naturally start being different, right? And so you can do that. You can use, you know what, I'm feeling kind of insecure, but I'm going to choose to sit up in a better posture. Well, that will indicate to yourself, give your body a signal to start believing in your worth and your value. And so it's really cool how we can sometimes work from our head to our body, but sometimes we can work from our body to our head. But sometimes I know it's hard. I know how it feels when you're feeling really down to just be like, oh, just be happy. But it's like there are things you can do, and you have to be at a place that you say, I like it is work to get into a different state, but like I really want to be in a different state, so I'm glad that I have a choice in this matter. And seriously though, Tony Robbins is somebody who talks a lot about state and how to change that. So, or guerrilla warfare has or guerrilla warfare, guerrilla mindset has a ton of tips on that, on like literally postures and things you can do. So, okay, I've gone through a lot about how to use your thoughts to change your destiny by talking about why thoughts matter. I'm showing you that you do have control of your thoughts, giving you practical ideas for how you can get intentional with your thoughts, start getting different results. But then my challenge to you is to practice what you've heard today. And what you can do is basically choose. Like think about your greatest takeaway and think, okay, is there a certain thought or belief that I need to reject? Or maybe you're in a bad state right now and you want to practice it. Practice changing your state through your body language. Choose, like I gave you a lot of different ideas for how to implement this. So I suggest you star or highlight or write out your own notes of what your plan is to implement, like what are you going to implement today, and then do that. This doesn't have to take very long. I mean, it could take literally 30 seconds, but I want you to try to really do something and leave a comment with your greatest takeaway, because one way we learn is by kind of interacting. And so when you take the time to say, okay, let me reflect, what's my takeaway, and then share it, that gets you to a whole nother level of learning and implementation than if you just watch this and walk away, right? Because I want this to actually make a difference in your life. So that is my challenge to you, to practice that habit of immediate action. And those are the kinds of positive things you can have happen in your life as you work on your mindset. And I actually, like, there's so much to say on this topic, and it's so hard sometimes to move things from our head and just like learning to being in our heart and really implementing it in our lives. And so I actually created a handout that helps people do just that. It's called a self-help guide to master your mindset. And so I'll have the link in the description so that you can go there as well to grab that freebie of mine. Yeah, so definitely watch your thoughts. It makes a difference. I'm so honored to have been here. Oh yes, and if you are a Christian woman entrepreneur, I have a Facebook group community with over 600 members of Christian women. It's called the Courageous Christpreneur, who are all love God and want to honor Him with their businesses. And I share a whole lot more about mindset and also business strategy in there. And so I'll have the link in the description to that as well. And so hopefully I'll see you join in my group. So excited to be part of the summit. This is an amazing opportunity. Be sure to watch the videos and implement what you learn. I'll talk to you later. Bye.